I've always grown fond of this retro, vintage, dark, rustic oak cabin vibe. It feels autumny, it feels cozy, right? That's what I'm getting at. But you could never find a keyboard to fit that aesthetic. There was always RGB, backlit keyboards, crispy white, multicolors. There was never anything to really fit within that niche until now. So I saw this company a while back all over Instagram, YouTube, and things like that. We're gonna start with sections of the video. We're gonna go through the unboxing experience, packaging, design, aesthetic of the boxes, and so forth. Then we'll move on to the next stage, which will be the build quality, like I normally do, going over the case, switches, keycaps, and that jazz, all the little accent bits they've added. Then we'll go on to compatibility for this keyboard, and then the price, because that's probably the biggest point that everyone wants to know about this. And then to top it off with a beautiful sound test of this keyboard. Then at the very end, we'll do like a conclusion of who I think this keyboard's probably best for and if it would be good for you in your setup. So moving on, what do we actually have here? Right, this is a keyboard bundle. So you've got a keyboard, a numpad, and then a beautiful wrist rest, which I don't actually use. But we're gonna start off with the numpad itself. It does come in a separate box. You can buy these singly, but again, the price will vary depending on how you order this. Box is very minimalistic. You know, there's not too much going on. They do have their own little logo sticker to hold it down. I have gone for the black and gold because I feel that looks the best, okay? The black and gold looks the absolute top tier when it comes to this product. So when you open up the first box for the numpad, you're greeted with an absolute beautiful, look at that, elegant. That does not give you vibes of vintage. And if you haven't gathered by just the numpad alone, this is the typewriter keyboard. Now, a lot of people have been going crazy over these. You've got knockoff ones from sort of TikTok Shop, Temu or AliExpress. They are nowhere near competition within these guys. These are some of the finest craftsmanship keyboards I've ever seen. So we're gonna get into this, but first unboxing. So now you know what we're looking at, right? Prepare yourself, because this is some next level stuff. Next in the box is a braided USB-C cable, and that is all you get for the numpad. Then we're gonna go into the big boy. So the box has the sleeve with a nice gold and black sort of texture on it. I don't know if this only comes with the gold and black version or if it's with the silver and white. They have some other colorways on the website. Just pull the sleeve off. You have pretty much the exact same as the numpad. So again, very minimalistic box. A couple of bits of text, that's about it. You've got that sticker logo on there. Voila. Look at that. So what you get obviously is the USB cable, braided, very nice. And then the guidebook sort of telling you a little bit about it. But look at that presentation in that box. Comes with a nice dust cover, which most keyboards should come with. Like I said, I've used it for a month, so if there's dust on it, understand why. So as you can see, you've got the red accent keys for the tab and delete. Very simplistic, very easy, out the box, and you're done. So the Qwerkywriter's chassis is constructed entirely out of a new scratch-resistant aluminium alloy for an incredible feel of quality and durability. And let me tell you, this has some weight to it. Obviously being a fully aluminium body, the chassis, everything inside here just is top quality, and you will understand why the price is the price it is. The keycaps are these beautiful rounded typewriter feeling keycaps with this accent gold casing around the outside here. They all have this beautiful little divot to perfectly fit your fingers inside, and then a nice matte rough finish to give it that aesthetically pleasing feel and sound and look to it. The switches they are using for this board is the Cherry MX Blues to give it that very nice tactile sound as a typewriter should have, with the beautiful red accent keys for tab, delete, and then clear on the numpad here. Just gives it such a retro vibe like they used to have on the old typewriters. Then on the top here you have scroll wheels. Now these are actual functioning things. You have the right side which does your volume and the left side which scrolls through documents, social media sites, and so forth. And then this beautiful return carriage lever which actually does become functional. You can use this as an enter key, or you can reprogram this to whatever key you desire. Incredible that they have that feature. As an old typewriter should have, that key is essential. I rarely use it. It's just there for aesthetically pleasing look to give it that typewriter feel. I never use it. I find it's easier just to use the enter key on the actual keyboard when I'm typing away. It's good that it's there. With the switches, it does give it that very modern slash vintage feel. Like I said, with the typewriter sort of, it gives it that, and it sounds exquisite. We'll get into that later when you can hear the sound test and judge for yourselves in the comments. At the bottom here, you have these rubber grommet feet to help it obviously stop sliding on desks, mouse mats, and so forth. But then the top are risen because in the back here is a battery. That's right, we're going to move into compatibility now. So the battery is in there because this is not just a wired keyboard or wired numpad. As you can see, they are separate. So they didn't want you having two cables dangling around. They made this wireless. This has Bluetooth compatibility for the keyboard and the numpad, which is insane to me that you can have these both just sitting beautifully on the desk without any wires. Now I use all keyboards wired because I'm just one of these people that always find that wireless doesn't always give you the best connectivity. But the thing with this, it's not the fact that it's Bluetooth and it, can connect to any device. It's the fact that the battery in this can last a month. 4 weeks, up to 4 weeks for a battery in a keyboard is insane. Now obviously it makes sense, there's no backlit keys, there's no RGB, so it doesn't actually draw in that much power from the battery. Another cool feature about this battery pack is if you take these two screws out at the top, it will bring down a compartment where you can actually take the lithium battery out and change it for, say, any issue happens. Maybe you get water damage on your battery. Maybe the battery just gives over time and you have to replace it. Instead of going and paying again for these products because you will literally fall in love with them, you can just replace the battery for a fraction of the price. And I mean, that for me is a huge win in the keyboard community, because a lot of the times keyboards have these built-in batteries that are sort of soldered or heat synced down to the actual PCB, motherboard, whatever you want to call it. So it's just a bit of a pain. You normally go out and just buy a new keyboard if anything happens to it. Where this, because you are paying the price you pay, like I say, we'll get into it, you don't want to go out and buy a new one. You want to keep the one you've got, and now you can. They've added that integratable battery the way you can change it yourself at home. They give you tutorials and everything on YouTube, and that for me is a huge selling point. But moving back to the Bluetooth compatibility, you do have a nice switch here on the right side which turns the power on and off, and then a top button on the left here which allows you to choose between 3 different Bluetooth devices. Now with the numpad, it's a little bit different. You've just got this one switch from Bluetooth to USB. I don't know how you set this one up to 3 different devices. I haven't looked into that too much. As I say, I keep things cabled, hence why I don't actually have the numpad on my desk, because then I would have the 2 cables just dangling around. It's now the time to move on to the price. The bit that everyone's been waiting for, anticipating, probably even skipped directly to. It's either the price or the sound test people want to know in these videos. So let's dive in to how much they cost singly and all together. But also, before I forget, you get this nice leather wrist rest, and it is comfy, but I just don't use them personally. They just sort of get in my way, but the price is where everyone decides if this is for them. So let's go over singly and as the bundle, starting with the keyboard on its own. This is in dollars for the black and gold. They are different prices for the different colors that you go for as well, just to keep that in mind. The keyboard on its own is coming in at $329.99 US. That's down from $400, which is mind-blowing. And then the numpad on its own is another $100 on its own. That might be an off-put for everyone, but when I tell you the quality that they are putting out makes sense why this price is as it is. And then if you go for the bundle, this is coming in at $429.99 US, down from $530. I'm guessing the 30 is added because of the wrist rest that you get with it, because if not, then you actually save money buying them singly. Now it's time for a sound test to give you that retro feeling vibe. Remember, the switches are the Cherry MX Blues. So looking at all this keyboard has to offer, the price, it might not be for everyone. Now, a lot of people that have reviewed this seem to think it's for the average typer, the daily writer. I actually find this is perfect for multiple use. Like I've mentioned, I've used this daily for maybe more than a month, to be fair, and I use it for writing scripts for my YouTube, TikTok, Instagram videos. I use it to email clients and companies, and yes, I use this for gaming. Now, a lot of people say the Cherry MX Blues are quite hard on gaming because they're quite dense. You have to push down quite hard to get it to do its job. I actually find it's quite nice. It feels like I'm actually clicking the button, knowing, okay, I've hit forward, he's walking forward. Got a very tactile clunk to it, so it does feel like you're actually physically pressing the button. Unlike some of the linear switches a lot of gamers use, I like to have that feeling I've done the job. You know. Now, setup wise, again, it's quite a niche product, hence why the price is so high. They have to put the price so high to actually facilitate making these, because they are made out of some of the best quality material. Because there's no backlight, because there's no RGB, a lot of gamers out there wouldn't actually have this in their room because it wouldn't fit their aesthetic of this swashy color theme, right? I, for one, have actually moved my office around to sort of benefit that cabiny feel. You know, I went out and got a new unit to sort of facilitate that wooden feel. I've got some shelving units that have that rustic oak. I have a nice dark walnut oak desk, and it just fit the aesthetic very nicely. Now, obviously, I do have a mouse mat which is dedicated to the gamer side, so it doesn't really fit within that, but if I take the mouse mat away, it does give it a nice cozy vibe because of the wood, the gold and the black just blending together. As it has no RGB, it has no gamer feel to it, it might not be for gamers. You know, a lot of you guys might sit there and think, it's nice and all, it does look really cool, it's a crazy gimmicky thing, like, and a very unique product to have. So even having it as a display item is a must, because I feel like this is a head turner, a talking point. If someone comes into your room, your office, whatever your setup is, and sees this, they're gonna be like, what is that? Does it work? Can I touch it? Because it's just aesthetically pleasing to look at. Whether you use it or not, that's a different story. I don't think it is dedicated to one specific type of person. I see a lot of gaming YouTubers that have this rustic looking cabin feel use this keyboard. Whether they use it just for typing and then switch out keyboards for gaming, I don't know. But for me personally, I can work with this day in, day out. And for me, I've never been happier to own such an aesthetically pleasing keyboard. And it's gonna be hard to replace, don't get me wrong. You know, it's gonna be hard to put this away and change out for a new keyboard because I just love that retro vintage style. Now I've actually touched on if there's anything bad about this keyboard, and I think the only thing for me is the backlit. I would love it to have a white backlit keyboard set just for the night times. I don't have to have the lights on, I can work peacefully in the dark with the lights sort of from the keyboard, but because there is none, it's very hard to see. There's not really much I can say that's negative, and I like to make my reviews very personal and say, look, this is crap. This is crap. There's literally nothing about this keyboard I can find personally to say it's bad, and that's saying something. Normally I always find some fault within a keyboard, whether it doesn't tell me if the caps lock's on, or this does that, or if the soundbar doesn't work, this sound thing worked. You know, these scroll wheels work, they're not just there to look pretty. Everything on this keyboard works, and it's a really annoying thing that I can't give you a downfall about this keyboard. Maybe adjustable feet, but then again, you don't need it because it is comfy the way it sits. They've thought of everything, okay? They've thought of everything with this keyboard. You can't blame them. For the price you have to pay for this, you want it to be the perfect, aesthetically pleasing, vintage looking retro typewriter keyboard, which they're going for, and they have smashed it. But I think I've covered everything that I need to go through. But if you guys want to know anything about this keyboard, leave it in the comments below and I'll get right back to you about it. And hopefully we can connect, start a conversation. Your thoughts are about this keyboard. Would you have it in your setup? Is it something that you'd have on the shelf just as like a little novelty sort of thing to show off? Let me know, let me know. Thank you all for watching. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe, because I know 99% of you guys are not subscribed. Remember to hit that notification bell when you do subscribe, because then it lets you know when I next upload. And because I don't have a consistent upload schedule, it's best to have that notification bell on so you do not miss the next upload. Capture, create, captivate, that's the motto around here. That's what we're trying to do, is capture the beauty in products. Then we create a bit of content to show you, to hopefully captivate your minds into looking in the description at the link to go and buy yourself one of these beautiful keyboards. But I'm gonna leave it at that, and I hope to see you all in the next video.